Hello everybody, Howie here. Today I am going to show you how to make your own profile for the American DJ Airstream DMX bridge. And we are going to do that using an iPad. However, we are going to use the Pro version. It's a free download from ADJ, and then you will install that on your iPad, and I will teach you how to make your own profile if it's not in the menu. Then I will show you how to patch it to this page, which is patching. The next page over, that will have your faders, which you'll be able to manipulate different colors, chases, and so forth like that. Next page over is effects, and you can see I have pages and pages of effects because I have different fixtures. But you could make a whole page of effects for that specific fixture that we will be patching, and I'll show you. Now what happens is you can take all three of these elements and you will make what is called scenes, and that is what is on here. There's 24 scenes per page, 99 pages. That's a lot. It's all up to your imagination. You can get every possible color combination. You get an event and they say, hey, I want these colors. You've already got it done. You can do this stuff at home. The last one over here is show mode, and that's a little bit more advanced, more for concert type things. But they're really very easy to do. It's just a matter of stacking different scenes one after the other. But for this purposes and for a DJ, this is the way to go. Do not be intimidated by the word Pro version. It really is much easier. There are more features on it, and I will take you start to finish in this video coming right up. You are going to build your own profile. You're going to load it. You're going to make effects. You're going to make scenes with it. Here we go. I have the iPad open, and as you can see right in the center of my apps there is the Airstream Pro. This is a free download from ADJ for the Airstream DMX bridge. As you can see, it's also in my most recents. So what I will do is click on that, and my first page that comes up may not be for you, but that was the last page I was on, is the fixtures. If you weren't on the fixtures, make sure to go right here where it's lit up blue. Go to fixture pages, and then you're going to go in the upper left hand corner where these four bars are, and I will click on that. That drop down menu comes down, and we're going to go to patching. As you can see, I already have some fixtures in here that you saw on the previous page, and I am going to be making a custom fixture that was not in there. And right here, page 2, I have an empty spot on number 2, so I will click on that. The slide over menu will come up, and it says custom profiles. That is what we are going to make. So we're going to scroll down from the manufacturers where you can find ready-made profiles, and we're going to go to generic, and I'm going to click on that arrow, and the V is pointing down now. Now I'm going to scroll up, and the first thing you're going to see is 12, 18, 24, and 6 channels. Now what we're doing here is we're making a profile. I'm making this for a friend, and it is, as you can see here, is 15 channels. So we'll go back over here, and we don't have 15 channels. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick the 18 channels, and we'll show you what's going to happen with that a little bit later on. But right over here in blue where it says patch, your color may be different. I'm in dark mode. I will just press on my finger on patch and it swipes on over. And right down here where we had that empty channel 2, it says 18 channel and there's a generic picture of it. What we want to do is go over here to the right. On my particular screen, there's going to be a circle. You'll have a circle. I don't know what colors yours will be, but your circle, and then there will be an eye in the center of it. And I am going to tap on that, and it's going to swipe over. And this is going to take us to fixture name right up top here. And it says 18 channel. We want to change that, so I'm going to tap on 18 channel and it's going to bring up my keyboard. And on the keyboard you're going to go to this back button here, and I am going to tap on that and get rid of that 18 channel. And because the name of the fixture that we are going to be making a profile for is called the 4-bar flex, we will enter 4-bar flex, and then we're going to click the blue button right here and we're going to say done. Next thing on our list, you can keep that generic looking fixture if you like, or here's a little something you can do. Just tap on that and it'll bring up the photos in your iPad. In other words, you could take a picture of your unit or your scene. It'll come up in there. It's the first picture for me in the upper left hand corner. 4-bar flex, and then in blue here it says use, so I'm going to click use. Now the fixture button itself, that's what it's going to look like. Next thing down is button name. So we are going to tap on that with our finger. Our keyboard comes up again. We're going to go over here to the back button and get rid of that and give it a new name. And we're going to call it 4B. We'll call it 4-bar for short, and then we're going to click the blue button and say done. Now what you're going to see over here, it's going to give you a starting address. Because I have so many fixtures in there, it goes in order so you don't waste channels. So it's already told me what the address is, 242. Now, if you want to override that, what you do is over here on the right where it says auto in blue on my screen, I tap on that, everything turns red. And then over here to the right, it says start address, and you will see right next to that plus and minus. You can give it your own custom address if you wish. For our purposes, we are going to click back on the override and leave it as is. The next thing down that we want to do is number of channels. You see it's 18. However, our manual says that it's a 15 channel. So we'll go back there, and you see right next to the 18 there's plus and minus buttons. I am going to tap on the minus button. 17, 16, 15. Now we have a 15 channel fixture. We are not done yet. It doesn't give us any information except a channel number, but the manual does. Right up over in here, you will see this name right here. It says control operating mode. The program only recognizes things like mode, dimmer, strobe, shutter, pan, tilt, different colors, RGB, white, UV, things such as that, names that the program will recognize. So what we are going to do is I'm going to click on channel 1, and because it said mode, I am going to go up to channel 1 right up here, and I'm going to tap on that, and we are going to hit our back button again, and we will just call that mode. And then guess what we're going to do? We're going to say done. Okay. Now, these other things you don't have to worry much about, like the invert mode. That would be for movers. We'll cover that in another video, I'm sure. In other words, if you wanted to go odd even with your movers and have them crossing, you would invert one of them. But what we want to do here is at the very bottom, this button here, I'd like to engage that. See how that turned green? And that's going to scale the master output. So I do this with all my lights so that I can use the master fader to dim lights or do a blackout. So now that we're done with that portion of it, we're going to go back, and then you're going to see channel 2. That needs a name. And of course, our trusty manual that I got offline here says number 2 is the dimmer. So we're going to go back over, and I will click on number 2, and I will also go up to the top here, and we're going to click on that. Our keyboard comes up, back button, and we're going to put dimmer in there. Dimmer, and we are going to click done. And we also want to scale that at the bottom here with the master dimmer. And see, we got that turn green. And then we are going to go back up top here where it says fixture editor, because that's what we're doing. We're editing this. So I will tap on that, and that brings us to channel 3. Now channel 3, you can see right here, is the strobe. So back to it, channel 3. We're going to go up to the top again here. I'm going to tap on that. The blinking cursor comes up. We're going to back, and then we are going to put in it'll be strobe. And we're going to click done, and we're going to scale it again by turning on that master fader to green. And then we're going to go back to the top again. Fixture editor, we're going back. Channel 4. Okay, now let's take a look at these here. Because this is a 4-bar, it's basically 4 individual par lights, and they're RGB. So now we start with red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green, blue, until we finish all the way to 15. So we are going to go back to our editor, and I am going to click on number 4. We're going to go to the top again. We're going to tap on that. You'll see the blinking blue slash mark, and we're going to go back, and we're going to give it something the program recognizes. Red. We are going to click done, and we're going to engage our master fader. And then we are going to go up to the top again, and we're going to go back. And guess what's coming up again? A color, and it's going to be green. So we're going to go back button again. And green, done. And we're going to turn on our master fader. And then we're going to go to the top again. We're going to go back. And number 6. We are going to click on 6. Our keyboard comes up, backspace. And guess what the next color is? Blue, RGB, BLUE. Done. Turn the fader on. We will continue this all the way down till 15. Red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green, blue. As you can see here, we have filled all of them in. From mode, dimmer, strobe, and then red, green, blue for all 4 of the individual par lights on that 4-bar flex. In the upper right-hand corner here, you're going to see profile. I am going to click on that, and there will be a pop-up menu. This will create a custom fixture profile. That's exactly what we want to do. So I'm going to say, okay. Success. Okay, sounds good to me. So we're going to go back and look at what we have here. We have created this. Now, when you go back to your fixtures pages, you're going to go to the upper left-hand corner again where those 4 bars are, and you're going to click on that and click patching. And let's just say I had 2 of them. So I'm going to go to this empty space to simulate this for you on page 2. And I'm going to click on that. Here we are. We've created a custom profile. So I'm going to click on this arrow here and watch what happens. Look at that. 4-bar flex is in there. So I could tap on that and look what comes down. 4-bar flex, quantity. How many do you have? Let's say you had 2 of them. You would hit the plus button, and then the number next to quantity would go to 2, and you would hit patch. So I will hit patch. We only have 1 that I know of. And there it is. We have patched another one in here. Now, if you look closely underneath here, it's going to tell us that we're in Universe 1 and the DMX address. In this particular case, it's 257. So as you can see, I have been experimenting with this. So we have actually 3 4-bar flexes in there. If you wind up like me and let's say you have too many, or you are only going to use 1 or 2, what you do is take the line, slide over here, and delete, and it's gone. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to go to the second page, and here I have 2 of them up there. I will select this one, and then you see how it lit up. Now I'm going to go where it says fixtures, the next one over, That's called channels. I'm going to click on that. That'll turn blue for me. And what I want to do here, this is very, very important. You see these numbers. These are the values. And they will give you different traits, different dimming capabilities, strobing capabilities, so forth and so on, that you will find in the manual. Now, let's go back to the manual real quick. As you can see at the very top, we're going to see we just want to control, we don't want any auto programs. So we want that to be at 0. So go back to that, and right here, I am going to tap on the 0, and you'll see a pop-up menu. I am actually going to hit 0. I'm going to say done. If you notice that turned green, that means that that is part of the program now. Even though it's at 0, that is a trait. That means it's not going to do an auto program. It's going to do what you tell it to do with the rest of these faders, or with some of the color controls that I will show you. But before we do any of the fancy stuff, we have to turn the lights on. So the second one is your dimmer. So you can manually slide all the way up to 100%, which is 255, or you can tap on the 0 and the pop-up menu comes up, and you can actually manually type in 255 and click done. Boom, that fader goes up. The reason I bring this up, this is important, that you can, if you find a trait that you can't quite dial in, let's say it's 150, the response with your finger may not be exact, so you could actually go in there and type in 150. That's for your future reference. Next button over, or not button, but next bottom line here, next to channels, is effects right here. I am going to click on that, and then I'm going to go to the upper left hand corner. You can see here I have made some effects already, and I've got pages and pages and pages of them. But the way that I've created them is up here with these 4 bars again. We're going to tap on that, and it'll give us a drop-down menu. And for an RGB fixture, we're not going to do pan and tilt. We're going to do color. So I'll click on color, and it'll bring me over to this page here. Now, for very simple, we're going to go to this very first one here, and this is going to give us the color palette that you see up here, and we will talk about that further. But first, let's light them up. Now, you see the bar at the top, how it's changing colors? It's going red, green, blue, and the various shades in between. And this is all controlled, or modified rather, by these faders over here. We won't be using the first 3 faders because this is an RGB fixture, so we won't be using amber, white, or UV. But the speed, the fades, and the phase, those all do something for you. And you will see when I speed this up, full speed, look at how fast. That's exactly how your lights will respond as well. It's going to scroll right through the red, green, blue. Now, another feature that you can do with this, let me slow this down, is that you can take these little rectangles that you see in the color palette. There's one on the right and there's one on the left. You can take your finger and move it left and right, each one. So for the sake of this, I am going to take the one on the left, move that over to the blue area. And what that does is it'll just give, let me move the speed up, and you will see that it'll just give the red and blue. But do you see how it's blipping at the end? It's going through and then starting at the beginning again, so that it looks like there's a jump to it. There's a trick to that right down here at the bottom. In this little blue box, it says loop. So in other words, it'll go like in a circle. It'll be a little bit smoother. So I will hit loop, and that will say bounce. You see how that's a little bit smoother now. And of course, you can control the speed of that. And if you liked what you've seen there in the upper right, you can save that as a scene. So what I'm going to do is show you a little trick here. And I am going to move the little rectangle so we get the full color spectrum. Bring the speed up a little bit. Now, this fader all the way to the right, this is really neat. This is called phase. Now watch what happens when I move this up. You can see the fader going up. Look at the colors up top. They will create a chase. So you can actually create a chase. And you can, what I do personally is I have the rig set up so that I know what it looks like on the rig and the look I'm looking for and what does it look like. And then you can actually change the speed and it'll do that nice smooth chase. And it won't look wonky because down at the bottom here it says bounce instead of loop. You may want the loop. That may be a feature you want. I like the smoothness of the bounce, how this works. So, okay, let's say, hey, this looks good on my rig. It's a really nice color change chase. What I'll do is in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see save. And I will click save. And I will scroll through my pages and I will find an empty spot for that. Yeah, I've got quite a few, don't I? So let's go to page 8 and I will click on that one. The effect button, you can do the same thing that we did earlier with image or the pre-selected image. But at the top, right here, what's the name of the effect? Color Effect 8-1. So what we can do here is tap on that, and we will have our keyboard up, back button, and we can call this Rainbow 1, let's say, and we'll click done. And then they also give you the option down here of tap to sync. This is pretty nice, and it also has /audio sync. So you can do this later with the master fader button that I can show you in another video. But for the sake of this, we will turn it on. And then we want to go down. Yes, we forgot to label our button. Here we go. It just says button label 1. We'll tap on that. Our keyboard will come back, backspace, and we'll call it rain 1 on the button, and done. And what do we want to do? We are going to want to go to the upper right hand corner, save. You always want to save it. So we'll hit save. And here we have the all important success. Effect has been saved. Okay, we'll tap on that. So what we're going to do then is we will go back to scenes, and we put that on page 8, I believe. So we'll tap through. Oh, I'm sorry, that was effect 8. We're going to go back, and now we're going to go up to page 8. And there it is at the very top, rain 1. So we are going to engage this. We're going to go down to the bottom, and we are going to click on fixtures. And we can see that we do have our 4-bar lit up. So we're going to go over to channels. Look at those channels moving up and down. So they're actually going through the colors. Okay. So what do we want to do here? Upper right hand corner. We want to save this as a scene. You always save scenes in the channel mode that you see down here lit up in blue. Right down here, lit up in blue. We're going to go back up to the corner here, and we're going to click save and swipe over button. It's going to have us go up. We need to find a space for this bad boy. And so I'm going to go to page 6 because I will delete this later. And scene button. You can do the image thing again and pick an image, or you can go with the color. And what that means is you can take your finger and swipe across the bar here, this bar right here, and you can change the color. So I'll stick with the color. But at the top, what are we going to call this? We're going to give that button, we're going to give the scene a name. So backspace again. We'll just say R1 because it's just a file which is not going to be used. We'll click on the important one is this one here that's going to show up for us, the button label. So I will click on the button label, and I will go back, and we'll call it Rain 1. And we'll click Done. And this is going to give you fade in times and fade out times. This is a little bit more advanced. For something like this, you might want to snap right to that particular color. So we're going to leave it fade in time as 0 and fade out time as 0 so that you can actually go to it right away for this particular purposes. You're going to see down here a momentary flash. You can do these things, but then if you're DJing and trying to do momentary flashes and playing this thing like a piano, you're maybe not going to be paying attention to your mix unless you had an operator doing it. So I'll leave that off in the off position. So now that we have our name, we're going to go in the upper right hand corner and we're going to tap on save, and here it says success again, and we're going to say okay, and there it goes back, shows us our faders are going up and down. So if we go to the scene, there it is, rain. There's our scene. There's the effect that we're using. That's lit up. The channels are going. And that's the fixture that's lit up. So I hope this was helpful.